Why hello there, fellow survivors on Vulcan. Rodamont here. Thank you for tuning in to Stationeers Brutal Vulcan. Episode 28. Coding new panels and filter warnings. So now we have farm air, pressure, and temperature. Now that doesn't really say anything about the gas mix, right? If we wanted that, we would probably want the, what is it called? I'm so bad with remembering names. The analyzer. So that's iron, gold, electrum. So the pipe analyzer on this section here, this section is connected to a passive vent. So this pipe is essentially the atmosphere of the farm. They're one and the same. So if I hook this up, I should label it farm air pipe analyzer. Turn that on. And I can now read pressure, temperature, and gas mix. So I wonder if it will say... So yes, here we go. We can also read out these data points from the pipe analyzer. So I can read out the ratio of carbon dioxide if I wanted to. Which would give us, like, a pretty good measure of its CO2. So maybe we want that as a data point for another console. Seems reasonable. Let's get another console up. Now, I'm not sure what, console would connect to that. I gotta think about that. Yeah, I don't need the volume because the volume is constant. It's just a measure of the size of the room. So volume is not a helpful data point. Okay. Graph? Well, we can try graph. I could also just use IC to read it to as a percentage to a LED screen, but we'll start with graph. And if I can't get it displayed on graph display, I'll set it up with LEDs. I know I can do it. I'm just not sure which method I want to use, essentially. Whether it can be done or not is not the issue. Okay. Setup mode. No. That's not going to work. Is this graphs only certain data over time? I wonder what... So I'll do it with LED screen. I'm just curious what, like, grow light... Oh yeah, this is just going to graph whether it's on or off. Okay. So, forget that. We'll do it in LEDs. And I'll probably end up using this console later on for, like, water temperature, water pressure. So it will be reused, I'm sure. Actually, the console doesn't actually physically have to change. So one of the versions of the console is the LED screen. So this LED screen is going to be named the Farm CO2 percent. Okay. Now what's important here is if we look up the console LEDs, if we want it to read as a percent, we need to print the number 1 to its mode data port, and we'll set it up as a percentage LED. Because if we don't, it's just going to read as a, like, you know, 97.8 or something like that without actual percentage. And it can be set up for percentage, power, Kelvin, Celsius, meters. So, like, if you're trying to read a temperature, Kelvin or Celsius is going to be useful, so on and so forth. So the LED screens have a bunch of different modes for, like, volume or pressure or you know, whatever. So that's what we're going to do first. So we'll turn this thing on. It's just going to read 0. Oh, you can also change its color. We have CO2 as yellow. So to that end, we can also make it yellow colored, the actual LED. So that would be interesting that it is not in the Stationopedia. But its color is a read-write function. Oh yeah, here it is. So we have to print color, the logic of color with the data of 5, which is fine. So let's go ahead and do that. I don't have any logic units in here, right? No. Okay, that's fine. So, we need memory. And this will hold the value for what we're trying to print. And this is all temporary. I can uninstall it once I'm done. And then we need a logic 2 IOs, one to read the value and one to write the value. And again, these chips are temporary, so I don't care about where they're installed, because I'm uninstalling them once we're done. Because it's sort of a set and forget type of scenario. As long as I don't uninstall the LED, these values aren't going to change. They're static. Think of them as like first time installation, first time setup. Oh, one of these is a logic reader. One of them needs to be a writer. It doesn't even need to be clean, because again, it's getting uninstalled once it's done. So, the first thing we'll do is turn this to yellow. So in order to do that, memory value needs to be 5. So now that holds the value of 5. We are going to name this Farm Logic Reader and Farm Logic Writer, just so that I can find it on the network a little bit easier. Grab my screwdriver. And the input for this is going to be the Farm Logic Memory. I should have given it, like, a name that would be easier to find. Farm Logic Memory, and then its setting, which should just be 5. Correct. Okay. Then, the input for here is the Farm Logic Memory, or Farm Logic Reader. the output is going to be this thing, the farm CO2 percent. And then the variable is going to be for color. Turn it on and off, and now it's yellow. Magic! Because I wrote the number 5 to its color value, so now it's yellow. So it's CO2 colored. Before I continue with this, let's do food and water, because I don't want to die. And also, I'm gonna... Nope, polling's still broken. Okay. Eventually, once the base is breathable, I won't even have to come in here. So this is just like a fallback plan. It's like a emergency breathing pod, but like the whole base being breathable really will be nice. Okay, so now that that's done, the next thing we want to do is to set it up as a percent. So again, if we go back, its mode has to be set to 1. So mode is this, and set to 1 will be percentage. So let's reduce this down to, reduce that down to 1. And then the writer is logic reader, CO2% for mode, on, off. And now it's a percentage. Pretty simple. All right, the next thing we need to do, and this, now that we've flashed the memory, so to speak, you could think of it as like BIOS terms or something. We want to install permanent logic, right? So we need to, I don't know why I installed it temporarily here, but we need to rip up all this and replace it somewhere where it can live. So then I'm going to be reading off that digital valve. And did that shut my AC off? No. No. So what I could do is I'll have to find a wall or something. I don't know. I'll put it somewhere. But we're going to be installing this. I don't need the memory unit for this, but a reader and writer. So I'm going to be reading the value off of the pipe analyzer for the oxygen percentage, which is climbing or dropping. And it's dropping because this oxygen filter died. So essentially, this is the oxygen filter health meter in a way, I suppose, that we're installing. And I could have done this by reading the data off of the air filtration for the O2 filter. But given that I'm like staring at the thing, let's print up another O2 filter. But that's essentially what this whole HUD system monitors. Oh, I don't need a heavy filter. Light filter's fine. Yeah. All right. Drop the memory there. Would I fit it here? Not elegantly. Could put it on the ceiling above it. That might eventually become prime real estate. I'll put it inside the farm. On a wall that won't move. Seems reasonable. Let's... Because I have stuff installed outside here, I know that this wall's never going to get bumped outwards. So we'll do a reader and writer here for it. So, farm CO2 percent logic writer. Farm CO2 percent logic reader. Alright, so the logic reader needs to find the pipe analyzer. So the farm... Farm pipe analyzer. And then the value on this is going to be the ratio carbon dioxide, which is 95%. And then the writer just is going to go out to, or the reader, rather, the input to this is going to be the reader. So farm CO2 percent logic reader. And then the output is going to be the farm LED. Did I skip over it? What did I name that thing? Farm CO2 percent. Oh, okay. Farm CO2 percent. And the output will be its setting. Done. That's it. And while I'm standing here, let's flush some more CO2 into the room. Which I'm sure changed the percentage. But now we can monitor even more data. There we go. Now we know the farm's CO2 percentage at a glance. Which is a roundabout way of determining the filter health here. I believe the air filtration... let's see. I could probably just read the... So another thing that you could probably do is to hook up the data port to the filtration unit and then read its... Can you get the filter health? Because if you can get the filter health, then you can just have an alarm above it when it gets bad. Maybe that's one other thing I'll do for the CO2, the oxygen filter, as part of this display farm condition. Let me look up the... I know you can. Well, you know what? How about this? We'll hook up the data port to the O2 filter and then just, like, do a logic reader on it. I'll be able to find it that way pretty easily. Because it would be great if I could just have a light above this thing that flashes white light as an alarm whenever the filter's down to, like, let's say 5%. Or 10%. And then, oh well, I have to throw out 5% of a filter. Not a big deal. At least it will alert me. Okay, so let's... This is what? Logic IO? Perfect. This is a temporary setup, so I'm going to set this up as a logic reader as a proof of concept. And then make sure I can read the value off of the filter data. And then we'll do the rest. but I just wanted to proof of concept this before I, like, go and install it for reals. And I just checked my polling software, it's still broken. Womp, womp. Alright, so this is called the O2 filtration. Good, I named it. O2 filtration. And variable will be... Ooh. I am not sure. I don't know if it has filter health. Let me look it up. Stationeers filter health data port. So, my one worry is this is an IC chip thing. That could be. Because I know that the filtration units have IC panels. Because I didn't see anything related to filter health here. Oh, pressure? No, it wouldn't be pressure input. I think I can determine whether it, like, throws an error. But not filter health. This would be a nice to have, not a need to have, so it's not a big deal if I can't work it out. Let me look at the in-game wiki again. So, I know it has slots. Is there a slot setting? No, I don't know if it does that. So, it would... I could set it up if it's an error state. That would be a one way to do it, I suppose, but that only works... I mean, it's still a good alarm, because the alarm will signal when the filter dies. So, error state would be pull filter. Oh, actually, it's not an error state without a filter? What about if I put a dead filter in? Never mind, that's not helpful. I get that. Try setting? That catches them all. Oops. Misclick. The setting here, depending on the device. There's a different chip reading slot info, you think. Yes, that... No, you're right, you're right, you're right. You're right. That is it. I need a slot reader. Oh, thank you. I totally forgot about slot readers. Derp! Alright. Thank you, Bane. Input. Let's do this again. And this is why we had a proof of concept. What's crazy is I'm using a slot reader somewhere already. One of my logics already has slot reading, and I just, like, totally forgot, which is embarrassing. Alright, so slot. Gas filter. Variable is gonna be its damage, probably? Oh, not damage. Not max quantity. Quantity? Yeah, there we go. Quantity. The other thing is it has to be in a very specific slot. Because if I put it in the other slot, it don't really work. But we can read it. So if we're reading it, then we would need a math compare with the number like 5 for 5%. And then like a math logic if it's lower or whatever. So let's set this up. So we have the slot reader. We have a memory that can hold the value of what an emergency low value is. And then we need a math compare. So we need a processor. So let's print one of them up. Logic processor. And this will be if this processor will be if the slot reader is less than the memory. Throw 1. 1 means light goes on. If not, throw a 0. 0 means light goes off. So then we need one more logic I/O. And the light itself. The alarm light. Obviously, I'm not installing it here. I'm just putting them down. So for the light, we'll do a flashing light. I forget whether the flashing lights... Let me check. Can be color-coded. Nope. They're one color fits all, it seems. Because regular lights can be color-coded. But they're not... Wait, yeah, they can. Why? Oh, it's the LED lights that can be color-coded. Yes, so the LEDs have color. But flashing don't? Flashing don't. That's fine. I don't care if it's color-coded flashing. Because what I'm going to be doing is installing it over it. So it's going to be relative to the filter. It's not a big deal. Yeah, I could set it up, but I would need 2 slot readers and an AND gate. Exactly, I know. And that's more annoying. I think what I'll do is I'll slot in dummy filters for the other ones. Or like dead filters. Like, what is a filter I never use? That way it fills a slot and I know not to cycle it. So I could slot in a whole bunch of like nitrogen filters or something. Or nitrogen oxide filters, because like I'm never going to be filtering nitrogen oxide out of anything. If I have nitrogen oxide, it's because I produced it. I don't need to filter it, right? So I could put in a bunch of nitrogen oxide filters, and that would be our dummy filters. And that works out well, and that simplifies the logic. So I would install an alarm light like here, which flashes when the filter is low. And I probably want to do something similar for CO2, because my CO2 filters also die rather frequently. Those are the 2 filters that die often, that need the most monitoring. The other filters in the base are not constantly prone to death. Speaking of CO2, God, that was low. We have a lot more oxygen again. Volatiles are fun. All right, so I'm going to put this stuff away. Graph display. You know what? Throw that out. I don't really need it. Okay. So we have to figure out a spot for this to live at. I'll probably put it in the farm as well. Even though it doesn't exactly make sense in the farm because it's like oxygen filter, but whatever. It's going to be in the farm. Just because the farm has some nice walls for me to graffiti.
Hydration critical.
I hear you. Yeah, oxygen is tangentially farm related because it's until I have a gas capture arc furnace. The only way I add oxygen to the system is through the farm. So it makes sense that it's farm related. It doesn't really matter. It's just like an empty wall that I can put stuff on. Because that's essentially what I'm doing here. Putting junk on the wall. Alright, I only have half a liter of water left. Copy that. Yeah, the storage is full. Yep. Save the graph chip for something fancy. I don't really have anything that I need to graph. So, and I can always, they're not expensive. They just take up room. So I'm not doing that. So, trying to pressurize this room a little bit more with the CO2 that we just filtered in. Good enough. Set this up. So this will be the slot reader. This will be the logic writer. This will be the math compare. And this will be the mem unit. Actually, whatever. This is fine. Messy, but fun. Okay. Let's start labeling them. O2 filter slot reader. O2 filter logic writer. O2 filter logic compare. O2 filter logic memory. Logic memory we'll set at 5. 5% filter remaining is sets the warning flags. All right, time to wire them up. With the messiest wiring possible. But, you know, copper's cheap. Alright, all ports connected to. I think. I like how I accidentally somehow grabbed a fern. I was like yoinking ferns off the ground. Like, I'm trying to do electronics and I'm like weeding or something accidentally. Alright, so slot reader. It's kind of annoying because the ferns are in the way, but input. O2 filter. Oh my god, all those solar panels are exposed on the data network. And then slot 1. Quantity. 86. Sounds about right. Then we want to compare if the O2 filter slot reader is greater than the O2 filter memory. Oh, no, we'll do is less than. Because 0 means the light won't go on, 1 means the light will go on. And then the logic writer is the O2 filter logic compare input. And then the output is that flashing light, which I did not name, I don't think. So it should just be F for flashing light. And I'll rename it once I get out there. And then the output variable is going to be whether it's on. Done. I think that's it. I think that's all I need to do. And it's pretty easy to test because all I need to do is yoink the filter out, and if the flashing light goes on, it works. So let's make the dummy filter for that. I don't have iron in there. So let's put the iron in. And I'll make dummy filters for all of my things. Because I'm gonna want... Oh, yes, that's not... What am I doing? Get the iron, walk it over, put it in, and make nitrous oxide filters. So, this CO2 filter is going in my suit. And these are just dummy filters, so I know which ones to swap. It's just a foolproofing. So I'm always using filter 1, not filter 2. Also looks like my water filter is rather low, but I use it less frequently. Hey, Malahawk, thank you for the resub. Yeah, almost 4 years. Goodness. All right, so proof for first off, O2 filter, flashing light, and proof of concept. Works! Right? So when the filter is nearing death, a flashing light above the filter unit goes wah! And, well, I could have it make an audible alarm, but, like, that assumes that you have atmosphere in your base, which hopefully I do, but it works. Awesome. Alright, polling. Are you still broken? Probably, with my luck. If you see my face illuminated, it's because it's broken. It's like the white error page of the website. So it seems like I am out of luck. There was one other data thing that I wanted to do, which is battery power. So now that we have pressure, air temp, and CO2%, and also filter health, that's a lot. I mean, that's really good safeguards. I would say. Because we want a breathable base, let's also do this. I'm gonna shove out all of the oxygen. Ooh. Oh, no, I looked at the KPA. We're not quite there yet. It's a work in progress. Alright, next priority is monitor, power, generation, and storage. So, that is more logic. But yeah, I'm rather pleased with this little monitoring system. Very simple, but it's very functional. So, for power, I would like to monitor two data ports, two datas, which is the percentage of the battery, of all the batteries. So like what percent filled all of my batteries are, And then also how many kilowatts it is, maybe how many kilowatts I'm using and how many kilowatts I am generating. So input, output, and percentage. Let's do percentage first. That might be the harder one. So I'm going to move the battery filler to somewhere else, because I want to put the data here. There we go. So the battery's moved. So, this is going to be battery fill percent. We'll call that battery charge percent. So what that looks like is this. Let's get a net, what is it? Data, what is it called? Power cable analyzer. Oh yeah, that's what it's called. And what we need to do is put a cable analyzer on our battery data ports. So the battery data ports are here, the station batteries. So this is going to look a little funky, but I want to connect all these data ports to the data network of our base. That way the data is readable. I'll probably need more cables looking at it. And this is, the purpose of this system is to monitor for, like, power problems, like brownouts and the like. But now that all the data ports are wired, from here, I can hook up a cable analyzer, once I have more cables, and read the value of all the power that's on the network. And then I just have to do some simple math, well, sort of simple math, of the total capacity, you know, or the current power divided by the total capacity to figure out the percentage. Thank you for tuning in to Stationeer's Brutal Vulcan, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rodamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rodamont.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you in next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Vulcan survivors.